Ah, do you all have umbrellas? You don't have?
I have a
Cap and a hood. Yes. Right. And you, let's say you've got an umbrella, right? Yes. Okay. And you, David, have you got an umbrella?
No.
Oh, okay. You were running quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad for me.
Oh, because it's drizzling, right? It's not
I was in swimming pool and it's not bad for me.
Ah, of course. Interesting. How was your last week? Was it easier for you? Like, not so difficult week for you? Last week, you had 1 day off, right? On the 8th of March.
difficult. Because it's day of rest. Interrupt.
Okay, it's the middle of the week, yeah, it interrupts the week.
Interrupt the week and quite difficult to get used.
Okay, interesting. And for you then? So how was it? Was it an easy week for you?
Maybe.
Okay, and for you, Lisa, was it an easy or difficult week for you last week?
It was okay.
Okay, so
It
different.
was fine.
Okay.
The rest is always easy.
Ah, yes. Totally agree with you. So you didn't have lessons on the 8th of March, right? No lessons, right? So absolutely zero. Okay. That's good. And how are you feeling today? Because it's the change of weather. So, yeah. Do you have a headache?
Sometimes. And in the morning. And in the evening.
Did you take any tablets, painkillers or something?
No.
So not very severe, yes, pain.
It doesn't help.
Okay. Because some people say, especially old people, they might have a high blood pressure because it's change of the weather, it's getting colder. Yeah, so some people feel it under the weather.
Maybe not young people, yeah.
Ah, yeah. We are still young. We don't feel it so much. Okay, good. We'll still wait for everyone to join because we'll need most of us to start one activity. But meanwhile, we have some terms that I'd like you to look at, and if you're familiar with them. Okay? So, I'm interested in monitoring. It's on the part of the teacher. So, teacher can monitor from afar, and teacher can monitor closely. So, when we talk about speaking activity, okay? So, from afar and closely, are they opposites or similars?
No, maybe similar and opposite.
How is it? How is it
Maybe
possible?
close and maybe we can take part in it, and opposite maybe we can monitor this.
Okay. Yes, but it means like the teacher here and the teacher here. It's the speaking task, and the teacher can monitor from afar. Am I from afar from you or close to you? Right now, what is my standing
Close
position?
maybe.
I'm close. Yes, good. And if I come close, so if I come like this, so
It's closer.
yes,
Closer.
it's closer. Yes, it's closer. Right. So monitor from afar. It's when you do not do what? When you are
You
speaking.
don't help me.
Maybe I do not interrupt. Do not help. Right. You just let students talk and then maybe give the feedback. Right. When I monitor very closely, so me as a teacher, what can I do?
Speak.
I can speak right to students, and why?
To check pronunciation, to get information.
To correct.
They don't know.
Yes.
And if they speak English, not Ukrainian.
Or if they speak Ukrainian, what can you say? If you monitor closely, what can you say to your students? You can say like speak English, yes, or speak English, right? So you can repeat it. Okay, good. And there are two types of correction. Okay, on-the-spot correction and delayed error correction. So when a teacher monitor from afar, okay, so then the correction will be delayed or on the spot. Delayed, right. So it means what? For example, you are talking, you are speaking, and what should I do as a teacher?
Maybe write something.
Write what?
No.
Or maybe mistakes. No.
Mistakes, yeah.
Yes.
And what do I do after you finish?
Discuss.
Right, yeah. Okay, we'll talk about it. Good. So if I monitor closely, right, on the spot correction, what can I correct? So I come closer to you, what can I correct?
Voice.
You can
Loud, maybe.
I can say speak
Quiet,
louder,
yeah.
speak more quiet.
Why
What
not?
else? What else? Voice,
Pronunciation.
pronunciation, good. What
Maybe
else?
some grammar.
Right. If it is controlled practice, you feel that something is not practiced enough, you can correct mistakes. Okay, good. Nice. Okay. And finally, today we'll talk about 3 types of practices, and it's all about speaking practice, right? How do you understand the difference between them?
Free practice.
Free and controlled. Can you think of an example of all 3 times? How you understand it?
No, free practice maybe in free way maybe.
But how do you
Discuss maybe.
Yes, discuss. So you give the task discuss.
Yeah.
Do you give your students the language, specific language to practice? If you say discuss, like discuss.
About topic should be.
Okay. So you give the topic, right? You say discuss or talk. Do you give the exact language your students need to practice? For example, use past simple, past continuous in
Maybe
free
no,
practice.
Free practice.
No.
You don't interrupt.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah, okay, so there are 2 types. Yeah, we'll talk about it, like speaking as a skill and speaking like language practice. Yeah, and there, if it is speaking as a skill, like talk, you don't, why it's free practice, you don't give specific language. Yeah? You want them to develop fluency. Yeah, so they talk, they make mistakes, they experiment with language, but you don't stop them. You want them to experiment, okay? If it is free or controlled, and like...
Maybe without topic.
No. No, it can't be. If there is the learning, there should be topic, focus, aim, everything. Yes. So, if it is controlled practice, let's talk about it first. Controlled practice, so will you give the language the students need to use in speaking?
Maybe at the end of the scene, you want to control what do they know and what words, what's grammar, constructions.
Yeah, so you give the topic and you say, for example, talk about yesterday. And control practice can look like this. Hello, sorry. It's an example of controlled practice because you give the prompts already, you control the way, the language your students should be using. You do not say like just talk, but you say talk and answer this question. So when students ask each other, what did you do yesterday? Who did you spend time with? Where did you go? Like, did you like it? It's very controlled. You know what language they are going to use, yes. And it will happen at the end of presentation, doing exercises, but it is very controlled. Controlled because you give the language they are going to use. Sometimes you can include, like, you can write at the end, like, why or why not? This is something a little bit freer, because then they can use even, say I didn't like it, but then they can want and use present or future. Answering this specific question, it can be a little bit freer, because they can experiment what language to use. But here, everything is so controlled, you know what language they are going to use, okay? So it's very controlled. Freer could be when you nominate the topic, you give some prompts, but you do not give like structures. You say like, talk about yesterday, for example, yeah? And then they need to use past simple, but still maybe past continuous can be used, so like this, okay? finally, two more. One difficulty at a time. Do you believe it's important? So when you give instruction, and why should be one difficulty at a time?
To be successful.
Yeah, who should be successful?
Students.
Yes.
And we.
Yes, because you feel the result of the students. Right. It's very important because we all the time aim at an average student or at a weaker one. Unless you have a very strong group and you know that every single student in your group can cope with and the task is familiar with two difficulties. But usually, when it is average group, it's only one difficulty. You say like talk and remember answers. They finish and then you say, okay, compare the answers and say which is the best. This is the second difficulty. But you don't say talk, remember, note down and compare, because they usually will remember just two instructions. The third will be lost. Yeah? So we talked about only one difficulty at a time. And they do not feel why. Communicative focus to listen to each other. So students always need to know why, when somebody is talking, why all the rest should be listening. Do you believe it's important?
Yes, of course.
Why? Why it's important?
They have to mention maybe some mistakes or right construction, grammar construction.
They have the possibility to include in the conversation, and they have to know what topic is.
Okay, right. Any other ideas? More ideas?
For students, it is easier when they are listened to.
Yeah, because they feel they are valued and their opinion is heard, right? Yeah. But then you need to train your students that at every moment of the class they need to listen to each other. But you need, we'll talk about it, you need to say why they should be listening. For example, now there will be the presentation of this group. Listen to this group and then say, do you like or do you not like? And then everyone is going to listen, because then you will say like, Lisa, what do you think of this group? Okay, they are ready and they know why they need to listen. Otherwise, it's like, okay, they do the talking, I keep writing, right? I don't need to listen.
To give the necessary task, maybe.
Yes, you should give
Another
the
words,
task.
another
Yeah, you should give the task so that everyone can listen to. Okay, good. So how many of us are right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Excellent, very good. Okay, I'm going to give you a number. If you are 1, 2, or 3, raise your hand. Good. Please leave your bags, leave everything, the cards, everything, and come here. Can you make a circle with your back to each other? Good. Can you come? Good. Can you come a little closer to me? Thank you. Good. If you are 4, 5, 6, please leave your notes, everything, stand up. And come to one person.
Back or maybe?
No, facing each other. Okay, maybe you know this activity. It's called onion rings or onion circles, okay? Those who are in the outer circle, choose one question. Now, for 1 minute, read to your partner and discuss together what is the answer. When 1 minute is over, I ring the bell and you go clockwise. Go to another partner and discuss your question. Then 1 minute, I ring a bell, go to the third person.
Merry-go-round.
So, start please.
How can you overcome this process?
We can overcome this problem by help of touching, listening to music, and trying speaking lessons. Don't worry, the
Grammar.
they're shy, they
About different meters.
don't want to make some kind of mistakes.
Just check. Okay. Okay. Clockwise.
Заучно.
Clockwise. Go to the next person. Okay.
Why speaking a difficult skill to teach? How can you overcome this problem?
To get your students to speak, we get all the
Can I show?
I love to make some sentences, maybe just to make
Maybe
sentences.
people don't know many words
Some theory.
and they are shy. They are afraid to make mistakes.
They may be shy to make some mistakes in their pronunciation.
Maybe more and maybe learn more words, new words. Yes.
Last person.
Why speaking a difficult skill to teach? How can you overcome it?
Sometimes they don't know words well. For example, when we talk about obviously, when we say I want to help, that's all. They can be shy,
Maybe they don't have enough. Okay.
Clothes, fashion,
They have difficulties only at the lesson to speak in English.
How can we overcome it?
edit.
Maybe practice. Yeah? More practice. More
To go abroad and maybe listen short episodes or films from set lessons, and after that we can discuss these films.
You can
The
overcome.
language will be Korean, but maybe not
Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Give me your questions. So those who were asking questions, do you think it was easier for you when you talked to the third person to tell what you think? Why?
Because I know what I talk about, and before the third person, I heard the opinion of another two people, two persons. So
Yeah.
of course, it expanded my opinion, and I can add something.
Right. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So yeah, you practice the same, but you know more and more and more. Okay, thank you very much. Tell me please, what was I monitoring you from afar? It's like not interrupting. We agreed with you, yes, beforehand. Or closely, leaving my comment, correcting your mistakes, interfering.
Monitor from afar.
From afar. Right, very good. Okay, good, thank you. Now, I'd like us today to talk about speaking. It's our second skill, right? For children, preteens and teenagers. And you're going to participate and analyze. At home, your task will be to design speaking according to the staging and including most of the cards, the things that we will talk about. You will see in practice, analyze and make conclusions about. Okay? So children first, okay? Quite quick. Introduction. Okay, we will introduce to each other and repeat after me. What's your name?
What's your name?
Okay, Vitanora.
What's your name?
Very good. Okay, my name's together.
My
name's.
Vitaly.
My name's.
Very good. Okay, now, what's your name?
My name's Liz.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, please ask. Ask
About
what?
your name?
Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Vitaly.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Good, okay.
What's your name?
My name is Lena.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What's your name? My name is Leonora. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
So please repeat my names.
My name.
My
names.
names.
My names. What's your name?
My name is Svetlana.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What's your name?
My name is Victoria.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
What's your name? My name is Victoria. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. Nice, very good. Okay, thank you. So, was it controlled practice, freer practice, or free practice?
Control.
Controlled.
Control.
Practice.
Controlled because
Because we use
You control.
We control all the sentences
You
and
gave us some structure.
You can correct some mistakes.
Yes, very good. So talking about children, can we have with them freer practice and free practice? You talked about freer practice. It's like you say, talk about yesterday, and they talk about using past and so on.
real practice maybe, but free practice it's
Problem.
11 years
So if
old,
we have
if they,
some structures,
maybe you're talking about if they are senior, like 11-year-old, maybe fifth graders, yeah?
Yeah.
So probably freer, right? But if it is first grade, second grade,
only controlled.
controlled, yes, controlled, good. Did I give you one difficulty at a time?
Yeah.
Was I monitoring you from afar or closely?
No, closely.
Okay. And did I have on-the-spot correction or delayed correction?
Spot, what is it?
On the spot spontaneously, just when you speak. On the spot, yeah, so it's not delayed, yeah. The children, they have short attention span, everything should be corrected as it goes, right? And it's okay. They can, and how was I correcting you? Remember, I corrected Eleonora, right? Repeat. How do you repeat first?
you give the example, and after that all together.
I correct, yes, I modeled, I gave an example, for example, my names. What did I ask after? Together or just individually?
Individual.
First, I asked
Together.
and then individually modeled. Yes, everyone had a practice. Okay, good. And what kind of communicative focus to listen to each other can I give to you? For example, you talk. In this exercise, it's easy because children, they shake hands, they will be focusing, right? But if I ask you then to be in groups, what can I, and then I want you to have open class feedback, maybe say what you learned from each other. What question can I ask that everyone can listen to?
Which names maybe they remember.
Yes.
Never-ending game.
Right, yes. So then you can say listen to each other and remember names. Yeah, when it's open class, you can ask like spontaneously. His name, her name, what you remember. Okay.
How many girls' names have you remembered?
Okay.
Boys.
Good. And one more game that I'd like you to see. So children, what kind of activities are very easy or necessary for the children to study with? Active, okay. What
Games and
Games.
dialogues.
Games.
how they, what kinds of activities can help them to practice speaking or pronunciation, for example? But repetition of what?
Of structures of words.
Should they be very situational, these structures for the kids?
For the kids.
For the
So
kids,
that they can see just around them or immediately on the book, right, on the book cover. So, or for example, the role play, they use different reality and they understand it's now, here, nothing abstract, okay? So repetition, but situational context, it's very important. How else you can practice pronunciation of speaking? With the help of what? Children.
Songs. Tongue
Poems.
twisters.
Poems maybe.
Tongue twisters.
What is something like a song, but it's just with rhythm? How do we call it? Tongue twisters, possibly. When it has some rhythm. For example, I say something and I do something like this. How do we call it?
Carols maybe.
Something similar. Okay. There is one more word, and that is very important. Yes, chants, it's like a verse, a poem, or just even without any rhythm at all, but you create some melody. And this is something that can help children to practice pronunciation of speaking and to remember the situation, okay? But it should be meaningful. I'd like us to practice one chant. Can everyone see it?
Yes.
That's a cookie, and this cookie is taken from a big glass jar. Somebody took this cookie. We'll try to find out who, okay? Repeat after me and do the gestures, the tapping, clapping of hands like me. You can follow the text, okay? Who took the cookies from the cookie jar? Somebody took the cookie from the cookie jar. Who, me? Yes, you. Not me. Then who? So this is a person who we call. For example, maybe Victoria took the cookie from the cookie jar. And if Victoria has, you say, yes, me. Okay? Can I ask you to move your chairs a little closer to me? So what I will do now, I will move and stop behind you for a couple of seconds. So when I touch your back, you need to, when I touch your back, very quietly, you'll have eyes closed, stand up and I put a cookie and you sit, but do it very quietly, okay? So, but just behind you, okay? So close your eyes. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Yes. Who took the cookie from the cookie jar? Who?
Eleonora
Eleonora
took the cookie from the cookie jar.
Yeah.
Who?
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Not me.
Then who? Who took the cookie from the cookie jar? Lesia? Who?
Me?
Me?
No, no,
Me,
only
yes.
you say, yes?
Uh-huh.
Only who. You say only. Who? Repeat it.
Who?
Me?
Yes, you.
Not me.
Then who? Who took the cookie from the cookie jar?
Vitai.
Who took the cookie from the cookie jar?
Who?
Who?
Me? Ah, who? Me? Not,
Yes, you.
not me.
Then who? Who took the cookie from the cookie jar?
Lena.
A cookie from the cookie jar.
Who? Me?
Yes, you.
Yes, me.
Thank you very much. Okay, good. So it's an example of a chant. Okay, you can move a little bit far away so that it's comfortable for you. Okay, preteens. 11, 14-year-olds. We have 6 of us. We have 3 pairs. Okay, everyone, listen to me. So in pairs, 1, 2, and 3, talk about a film that you saw or a game that you played recently, so not long ago.
Okay.
You have 2 minutes. Remember the answers of each other. Okay? So please start.
In pairs.
Yes. Tell each other? You remember details? 30 seconds to finish. Okay, please stop where you are. Now, listen very attentively to the stories of each other and then choose one which is the most interesting and say why. Okay? So, Svetlana, what about the story of Victoria, or film or a game?
She has seen a film about a woman. She lived in Italy, and it was very sad story because she needed money.
Thank you. Good. Renata, it's about the story from Eleonora.
The name of the game was Will, yes, Will and Mingle. Mingle. Will and Mingle, and the name of the film was The Policeman and the Witch. The Policeman and the Witch, but I know but I don't know what is this film about. We didn't discuss.
Okay, but sounds intriguing, sounds interesting. Thank you, Lesa, about the story of your partner.
Vitaly has seen the film Red Hot with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's an action film and he liked it very much.
Okay, thank you. So, judging by the titles, say one film that is the most interesting for you and why, Vitaly?
Maybe I like all films.
Choose one.
I think the most interesting film was film, I don't remember the name, but I should say about my book, no?
No.
About maybe girls. I remember that this film was very sad.
Гнездо
It was a very sad story.
Was. Because it was unusual maybe to see sad films.
Okay, usually we watch
Happy
happy
That's what it
films. Thank you very much. Okay,
very young
good.
woman.
So, free or controlled?
Freer,
Okay. Why you think it's freer?
because you gave some instruction, but you gave some
Freedom.
some freedom, yeah, for our imagination and for our discussion.
You
And
didn't
so on.
interrupt us.
Yes.
And you listen to.
Yeah, but it's about monitoring, yes? Before we go, yes, freer. In this, recently, not long ago, what tense would you expect from students to use?
Present.
Possibly what else?
Passive.
What else?
Present or past progressive, maybe.
Yeah, so you can say
I
like,
can remember.
But continue maybe.
yeah, past progressive, past continuous. So you can say like, the girl in that film, she was watching, running, and somebody was chasing her. Yeah, before she came, everybody had left, yes, so a lot of writing. That's why it's freer, yes? It is still, it's not absolutely free, because you say recently, you say film, and you can also limit or give some prompts when you say to the student, title, then maybe some ideas. So the first of all, instruction or task is written on the board, and some prompts could help students to develop the speaking, but it is still not very controlled because they are free to choose which words, which grammar in the scope of past tenses, okay, or maybe present perfect, okay, it depends how you formulate the task. Good. So, okay. Did I give you the communicative focus to listen to each other?
Of course.
Yes.
What was my first communicative focus? For example, I said work in pairs, and why should you
Discuss the
listen?
film or game, and after this you have to name this film and tell us what is it about.
Yeah, so I said remember, because then you need to tell me. So it's communicative focus to listen. Why I should listen to you telling me a story, okay? Because then you will tell me. What was your second communicative focus? I said
Listen to each other.
listen to each other and
Remind and
Choose
choose
the
the
most
most interesting field.
yeah.
Okay.
Did I say who will do it? Or first I said the task?
No, for everyone.
For everyone, everyone is listening to, and then I say, Vitalis, or tell us one, which is the most interesting. So I gave you two communicative focuses, right? For the first time, why, and for the second time, why you should listen to each other, okay? Okay, good. What about, did I give you one difficulty at a time? So only talk, remember, right? Then tell us and choose one, okay? And what about correction? So, yeah. Did I correct you? No, I wasn't correcting you. What can I do as a delayed error correction after you finish talking? So, but I was I listening to you from
Yes.
the past?
Yes. Then,
Mhm.
then you correct.
Right, okay, and so, correct or incorrect?
The first correct, the second incorrect.
Okay. And where's the mistake?
Possible.
Where?
So,
So,
Okay, so it's called delayed error correction, and it's very important that when you monitor from afar and catch good language and bad language, you all the time write good and bad. Because then students feel that they are progressing when you write good language as well. Okay, and they are analyzing. Okay, again, it's about pre-teens, because with children it's on-the-spot correction, drilling, repeating together, repeating individually, model in pair, open class, closed pair, so it's all the same correction, right? But when they are pre-teens, you can do this delayed error correction already. Okay, good and bad language.
but we can play a game. Imagine that you are teachers now with children. Listen, for example, plural. Apple, apples, box, boxes. Listen to your partner very carefully. Oh, well, listen.
Nominate
to-
one
yeah.
person, yeah, and then it's called
Okay.
yes, so it's called peer evaluation. Peer, it's somebody who is the same age, sitting in the same group, right? And then, of course, yeah, it's nice for a variety, and they can feel they are bossy. Will you nominate a strong or weak student for peer evaluation?
Strong.
Strong, yeah, because you should be right that he's not confusing the rest, but he knows exactly that this is past simple or there is a mistake in past simple, okay? Okay. So, look please, one more, and monitoring, yeah, we talked about that. And before we go to teams, so which practice can you use with preteens? All of them, or only some of them, or only one of them?
Some, all of them.
all practice with free teams?
Yes.
You must. Okay, then can you use freer practice?
Yes.
We were just using them.
Mhm.
What about free practice? It's when you say talk about, it's speaking as a skill.
Discuss, this film.
Write some
We can give
notes.
them idea to discuss and maybe divide them in some teams, 2 teams for example, and after that they can discuss and exchange their opinion.
Right. But will you give the language? Will you give the grammar?
No,
In free?
it's free
Free.
practice. Maybe after that we can correct and doing the correction work.
Right. Yeah. But if the group is not very strong, would you do free practice every lesson?
No.
No.
When?
Maybe
How
at
often?
the end of the
Of
topic.
the theme,
of the
yes,
theme.
the theme, maybe twice during this theme, during learning this theme, for example.
So maybe like
But
once
not
a month?
No, it's every, we get theme every 10 lessons, so it is the 5th lessons and it is the 10th.
So it's like once every 1 month and a half. Or every 2
Twice.
months.
No,
Twice?
months.
In 6
How many
weeks.
lessons we have?
10 lessons. We have got, for example, we have got 5 lessons a week, for example, and maybe every week it must be.
Free practice. How much
Every-
time will you spend on this free practice?
If you say how much,
Like half a lesson?
No.
it either
5
I know
minutes.
it's
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Will it be free practice then?
No. Free practice covers the most of the lesson, I know, because when we divide them into groups, we give them the idea what they are going to talk about, and of course we will have
Question.
the
Main
time.
question.
We get them the time and how much time can they spend for discussing. After that, they maybe choose the leader, and maybe this leader can.
Name the team.
Yes, I would like to defend this team with his instructions and ideas, and after that they can exchange their opinion. So it's time. I think that it's almost the whole lesson. The whole lesson for the free practice. But it depends on the theme. For example, if it's environmental protection, for example, or maybe such other themes that we can, that pupils can be prepared for it before this lesson, of course, and after that. You can
Yes.
do it.
Yeah, and you can see that it's, sometimes it's the whole lesson, right? Because you need to prepare, they need to negotiate in groups, but you're not limiting them. You don't say like use present simple or use the words that we studied on page 5. No, you're expecting them to experiment with the language, to remember, to use, to present ideas to each other in groups. It's better to do it in groups if it is free practice. You divide it into bigger groups, right? Then you will need to give them feedback on content. So you can say, for example, listen to each group and say which idea is the best. It's content and feedback on whatever it's on this letter. It's when you want them to spot the mistakes and see good and bad language. So how would we call it? You know this word.
Accuracy.
Accuracy, yeah. So it's pronunciation correctly, it's grammar correctly, vocabulary correctly. Yeah? Then you can say like, look, 4 sentences from your presentation, which is good, which is bad. Remember, both should be presented. Yes, they feel that they are progressing. Okay, good. Now, this is free practice quite quickly. So we'll have 2 groups now. The first group, 3 of you. Please make a kind of a circle. And the second group. So in a group, talk about 3 advantages and 3 disadvantages of the use of alternative sources of energy. energy? Is windmill or windmill kind of energy an alternative source of energy? Windmill. Is solar panel an alternative source of energy?
Yes.
Okay, so 3 pluses and 3 minuses. Remember to write short ideas, because then you present it to the next, to another group. Okay, so about 2 minutes. Please start.
Let's speak about solar.
You have good ideas.
You can do
Don't
this.
pollute environment.
Electricity.
These may be free energy. Да.
Sometimes we can't use because if we speak about sometimes weather is more need the sunshine and we sometimes it's difficult to use the energy
Other resources, what does it mean?
Нет, напишу.
every time when
So use on my phone?
Да, use of the sun.
And we do not need to use other resources.
Not other resources.
We need to use
Do not work at
minus.
cloud, not property work. Bad weather. Cloud is bad weather. Today's are sure. Да,
Depends on season and weather.
Хорошо. Дальше.
Season and
Strongest.
part of the day, maybe at night. And what otherwise? More time.
A lot of meteors, huge area. Да. Ну, есть же у нас целая полянка. Потому что
Можно и назвать.
так правильно. Даже ж такие поля целые. Где заставлены, ну не у нас, но заграничные. Да, чтобы ultimate a lot of, to produce a lot of energy. Oh, the last one.
The last one.
Which area, if small area, then only for 1 or 2 users.
Not a lot of energy.
Okay.
They produce not a lot of energy.
Sometimes
In our
seconds.
territory.
Not much energy.
Not
Okay,
not
please
much
stop
energy
where
as
you
we
are.
need. As we need.
In your group, nominate one person who will present the first plus or a minus. Let's start with pluses in your group. Okay.
Pluses we see on the price. What I mean, it's very expensive to make the, for example, solar battery. It's expensive. Like the battery.
This group, do you agree or disagree? make a sentence like this?
I
You agree with Vitali or
I
disagree?
agree with Vitaly.
Uh-huh. Because?
Because some components of the solar, что у нас там? Batteries are very expensive
Nowadays.
nowadays.
Good. What about your first advantage? In your group, who will present it? Okay, so,
We will speak about solar energy too, and our first advantage is it doesn't pollute energy, it doesn't pollute environment.
Agree or disagree?
Agree.
We have the same as our.
Good. So can you make a sentence?
I agree with this
Same.
idea because we had the same.
The same.
We were talking about less pollution and alternative sources of energy can save the environment.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, so your ideas are very interesting. I've seen some of them. Good. Do you think it's feedback on content, what we are doing now? Content, yes?
Mhm.
So we are commenting
Yeah.
on what you were talking about. Okay, good. Now, correct or incorrect?
The first
The
is
most,
most
it's-
the most
yeah, the
important.
We agree?
Yes.
Sorry, I was wrong. What about the second?
You are.
Correct?
Yes.
Agreed, right?
Mhm.
Yes. So, good. Now, that was an example of free practice. And did you have one difficulty at the time? Right now. Yes,
One.
only brainstorm, then comment, okay? So one difficulty, good. Was I monitoring from afar or was I sometimes monitoring closely? From afar, mostly, okay, taking notes. But did I come to both of your groups at some moment?
Yes.
What did I say?
Have you done it? Have you done everything?
Have you made maybe 3 questions?
Right, okay,
But
good.
we had good ideas and we had to write them down.
Yes, it's just what I did firstly, because you started writing, and then I was monitoring from afar, and I saw that you were just discussing but not taking notes. So I started monitoring closely, though it's free practice, but the aim is not to interfere, but to make sure that the instruction is done, okay? I need to make sure. If with your 13 students you can monitor from afar and see so well that everyone is doing great, but sometimes you would need to come closely just at the very beginning to make sure or point and say this task, speak only English and so on, okay? And then monitor from afar, good. And on the spot correction or delayed error correction? Delayed. I wasn't correcting you because it's free practice. I can't correct you. Yes, I want you to develop your speaking fluency only. Okay. Good. And finally, talking about teenagers. So free practice, controlled practice, and freer practice. Can you use all of them with
Yes,
teenagers?
of course.
Finally, right? So, and if you remember. So that was with teenagers. With children, can you use all of these practices?
No.
Control practice.
Control.
Freer practice.
Yes, if they are senior children, right? Yes. But mostly it's controlled, yes? Then freer maybe. Free practice?
No.
No, they have no language, right? They have no vocabulary to do that. Yes. Okay, good. Now, I'd like you to see the structure that I was mostly following. Please take one and give it to the rest. There should be enough copies.
my what? See what is it?
Students.
Okay. So, before we go into your homework, these are the staging of controlled. You saw that controlled practice, speaking as language practice, right? For example, you introduce what's your name, my names. It's very controlled. First, remember what I did with Lesa first. I said, what's your name, my names. Teacher, first I said we drilled the structure, right? Then, open class. Everyone was listening to what's your name, my name's Lesa. Open class. Then, student, I asked, everyone was listening, I asked Lesa to ask Vitaly, open class, okay? Then, closed pairs. I ask you to do it in turns, okay? You listen to each other. Then, it could be student and student. If I feel that I want you to demonstrate, I can ask Vitaly and Lesa, come here and ask each other. What's your name? My name's, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Shaking hands, open class, okay? But you do it when students practice with you, practice in open class, practice in closed pairs. Then they practice so many times that they are ready to have it as open class. But I wrote it's optional because for preteens maybe you don't need it so much. Maybe you don't have so much time and it can be optional. For children, you must do it with open class. And usually children want to come to the class, two of them, and demonstrate after so much practice, okay? With preteens, you can do it once in a while. With teenagers, mostly, you can have as a group, change pairs, still in closed groups, okay? But with children, it's really, really good. Feedback on content, so you can ask, so you talk to each other, what's her name, what's her name, what's her name? And finally, feedback on accuracy, repeat together, what's your name, my names, you want to correct the pronunciation, okay? These are the staging of controlled practice. So, I want you to write the staging for controlled or freer. If you are teaching children, you will need to use controlled speaking activity. If you are teaching preteens or teenagers, it's freer, but not free. Okay? So, you can either choose it from the book, because sometimes you have exercises and then you have dialogue, and they need to complete with words and then role play. Or you have some language practice and you can invent yours. Dialogue, they ask each other anything. That will be controlled practice exercise. Please write what is the aim of your speaking activity before you go into staging. So we are coming to the moment which is teaching lesson plan. That when we have it as a final stage, you need to plan your, we'll talk about lesson planning and lesson aims. You first of all need to think what is the final product that your students will have. And starting from that, you think, what is the interaction pattern? Which exercises, which way you want your students practice and in which way, so that they are able, for example, my students will be able to role play a dialogue. You set it as a speaking task and then think, maybe you first need to model open class, maybe model as student-student, maybe you need to have them in pairs, maybe change pairs, and then come to the class and role play again. But they should be able to role play a dialogue. So think how many exercises you need for that, and write in the context topic, still mention it. You will attach the photo, but mention for yourself that, look, I have a name, my students are able to role play, my context is students will be able to use. You are very specific when you write your aim. So before you send me staging, you must start with aim. You open the book, you analyze speaking, write your aim, and then only think of staging. This is the similar what we are going to do when planning the lesson. It will be something similar. We'll first think about our lesson aim, not speaking, not writing lesson, and then think how we will come to this aim. Okay?
What I want to have at the end.
Yes, the final product, right? And when you write staging, for example, my students will be able to role play as open class or closed pair. Write, please, what language they will use. For example, will it be the same question answers, or maybe question answers, but then open class, it will be something different, or you modify it differently. So be very specific. What is the question and answer your students will use in speaking? And to use at each stage, yes. So this is the home task for next Tuesday. Okay? Thank you.
Can I have your kind question?
Yes. Yes. This instruction and staging might be a little bit more different, or will require for you a little bit more time of planning and writing, and especially analyzing what language you want them to use, because you will need specifically think what is the question and what is the structure that your students want to ask and answer. So it's very specific. So I'm kindly asking you to try and plan this staging within a few days, so that when I receive it, I can leave my comment and maybe you can add an enlarge your instruction, and I will have time not on Monday, but let's say maybe before weekend, or maybe early, like late Sunday evening or early Sunday morning. So try to do it beforehand and send it to me how you understand it, how you plan it, what you write, so that I have time to add my comment to that. Okay? Not on Monday evening. Yes, thank you.
That's all.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. I'm just going to complete the information about you right now in a few minutes. Just prepare it to me, okay? I'm still looking for. Okay, I have a few extra sheet of paper that you can read and familiarize yourself with. It's still about speaking, staging, different exercising, so it will be very useful for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Useful information. Especially tomorrow.
And in onion rings, you ask each other these questions. And these are the answers, possible answers to the questions from the exercise onion rings.
Троллейбусе отпишешься.
Да я сейчас знаю, что...
thank you for your
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for participation, active participation.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you in a week time. Enjoy your week.
You too.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye. See you soon. I didn't receive for your homework about listening. Do you have my email?
Yes. I have sent you, but I have written by hand and then made the photo.
And you sent it to me to email. When was it? Was it last week?
Last week, yes.
Did you receive
I
the
made a
answer?
photo of the page of my student's book and I wrote by
Did you
hand.
receive the answer from me? That's why, because I didn't. What's your email? Can you write it? I can check it. Clear. If it's not so difficult for you, can you have it in your sent box? Can you send it to me again? Probably it got into my spam for some reason and I didn't receive it. It's okay. If it's handwritten, it's alright for me. It doesn't matter for me
Because
which
I
form.
type very
Slowly.
slowly.
Yeah, it's okay. Then I will check it, but when you come home, please send it forward to me again. Because here the internet connection might be a little bit slow or poor. That's why you might not have possibility to do it now. So it's slow.
And can you write me your email?
Yes, of
once more?
course, yeah.
Maybe I made a mistake somewhere.
V-U-K-A, then 195, then at Yandex dot.
Yes, yeah, it's mine. But I will be asking you to send it again because
I don't know why you haven't received.
What was the date?
The date? The 5th of March.
Okay, I'll just check it now. No, believe it or not, I have the instructions from Karine, then Svetlana, Victoria, and not from you. You'll need to send it to me again. Thank you very much.
And is it possible to send in Viber, for example? No?
Yes, you can send. Some teachers do send me in Viber. Just do it in a written form.
Make
by
a
their own.
photo and
Yes, and
send.
send it to me. Yeah, it will be faster and it's more reliable probably.